Today, I'm going to be talking about a show that was near and dear to me when I was a kid. This show was honestly everything to me, especially from like 1st grade to 6th grade. My best friend and I would watch this show all the time, every single time that I went to his house. And at my own house, I would watch the show all the time with my brothers, as well as play some of the video games, and I saw the first movie in theaters with my dad in 2004. It's a show that is a classic to this day and has still maintained a large following of fans, especially people who grew up watching the show back in the late 90s and early 2000s. In my opinion, this is still the best animated show that Nickelodeon has ever created. It's Spongebob Squarepants.
The first episode of SpongeBob aired on Nickelodeon on May 1st, 1999, and this show would go on to become a cultural phenomenon with many seasons, which is honestly pretty rare for a children's cartoon. And the crazy thing is, the show is still going. The show is in its 13th season right now, and as of February of 2023, the show has released over 275 episodes spanning over 23 years. It would also influence a ton of different media, merchandise, theme park attractions, and more.
I watched this show for years, and although I haven't seen a new episode since 2011, it's still a show that is extremely important to me and a show that I have a lot of nostalgia over, which is why I wanted to discuss it here in the Retrospect Lounge. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite episodes as well as some other memories regarding SpongeBob Squarepants and the media and merchandise that it would spawn. Anyway, there's going to be a lot to talk about in this video, so let's do it. Other than just watching the show on TV, my family also owned the 2nd and 3rd season DVDs, which my brothers and I would honestly watch the shit out of back in the day.
I can remember many nights that I'd fall asleep to the show after binging the DVDs, and I'd wake up briefly to this menu on a loop on our TV. Music, sound effects, and all, just before quickly falling back asleep again.
Honestly, I was probably dreaming about this room, considering I was hearing it loop over and over about, 200 damn times in my sleep.
Just make it stop, make it stop, make it fucking stop, and get me out of this damn kitchen before I go crazy, I'm going crazy.
6.5 hours later.
Anyway, let's watch the show and talk about some of the most memorable moments in SpongeBob SquarePants, at least for myself. Starting with the amazing theme song.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Honorable Chairman.
I can't hear you.
That's not the right show. Hold on.
Are you ready, stoners? Oh, who lives in a bunk in a dormitory? SpongeBob
No, not that either. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants.
One thing that I remember about this show that I always loved was the live action segments, which would show up pretty frequently in episodes with Patchy the Pirate, the Caveman, and other characters, including the Christmas special and the House Party episode. Even better were the brief moments with live action characters such as this one.
We rejoin the artist in a creative slump.
Huh? What's this? My pencil!
Watching moments like this crack me up even more than I feel like they did when I was a kid. It's just too damn funny. Now, is it only me? Probably, yeah.
Now I'm going to get into one of my favorite episodes from Season 1, Rock Bottom. The episode starts off with SpongeBob and Patrick boarding the bus after a fantastic day at Glove World. Yet, various incidents occur such as SpongeBob repeatedly harming the bus driver with his oversized glove balloon. The bus eventually travels along a sketchy-ass back road that is just too strange, even for this show, so we already know that this can't be good. For all the concussions that the oversized glove balloon caused to the driver, the dipshit boys are thrown from the bus. To make matters worse, they took the wrong bus and are now stranded in Rock Bottom, a town that is so bizarre and eerie that it makes the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles feel like the Disneyland Hotel. SpongeBob tries to look for a bus schedule, but the bus ends up showing up while he's gone. Patrick is too stupid to ask the bus driver to wait for SpongeBob, so Spongy ends up getting left behind like a chump. SpongeBob decides to wait for the next bus because he is all by himself in Rock Bottom and is unable to go back home due to an right-angled road. But he becomes so preoccupied with tying his shoes and chasing after his balloon that he misses the bus twice more. One of my favorite gags in this episode is when SpongeBob is reaching for the candy bar, and every time he reaches, the bus moves away. But once he does run away from the candy bar, the asshole bus driver takes off again. He decides that he's had enough and he must get to the bottom of it. After having to endure the long line with 332 people in front of him, SpongeBob finally gets to the front. Unfortunately for him, the last bus to Bikini Bottom already left, so he's stuck in Rock Bottom until morning. From there, SpongeBob hears and experiences all kinds of weird shit, including creepy noises that he tries to escape from. In the end, it turns out the noises were actually from a friendly anglerfish that helped SpongeBob get home by blowing up the balloon that he lost earlier.
Maybe the residents in Rock Bottom aren't as mean as they seem and are actually friendly. Don't judge a book by its cover, boys and girls, and that is one to reflect on.
Rock Bottom was both a humorous and unsettling episode that really went down as a classic, especially with the meme material that later came out of it. Moving on, let's talk about another classic episode from Season 1, Pizza Delivery. The episode starts as Squidward waits for SpongeBob to finish wiping the tables before he leaves to go home to go and practice his fucking awful clarinet music. Somebody makes a pizza delivery request over the phone to the Krusty Krab, even though they don't sell pizza. Mr. Krabs simply makes a pizza out of some Krabby Patties. If Krabs can transform Krabby Patties into pizza, he must either have some magical powers that we don't know about, or his greed for cash just drives him to be even more determined than normal. Even though the sponge doesn't even have a license, Squidward forces him to drive because he's too lazy to drive himself. Naturally, SpongeBob ends up being so nervous, especially due to pressure from Squidward. After SpongeBob over-reverses the vehicle and drives backwards all night, they run out of gas and get stuck in the middle of nowhere. Squidward ends up getting so frustrated that he kicks the boat, which I guess can also run on the squid's anger, as the boat goes back to the Krusty Krab without SpongeBob, Squidward, or the pizza. Well, that's a rough one.
We can still deliver it on foot.
They end up having to walk to deliver the pizza. Hijinks ensue, and SpongeBob almost becomes roadkill after trying to hitchhike, and they end up stumbling upon an undersea tornado as well. SpongeBob and the pizza are ultimately carried into the storm by the tornado's strong wind. Since they won't be able to deliver the pizza if they are sucked into the tornado with it, Squidward attempts to convince SpongeBob to let go of the pizza. However, SpongeBob is just too much of a dedicated employee to give it up. All for a $5 an hour bullshit food job.
Another damn victim to corporate America.
Rightfully so, Squidward recommends that they just eat the pizza, but SpongeBob just won't give it up unless it's for the customer. Oh, I don't even blame Squidward at this point, I'd be fucking pissed. They end up in a Tom and Jerry style chasing sequence as Squidward tries to get the pizza. They later end up stumbling upon a driving rock. I mean, if Patrick can live in one, then why can't they drive one too, you know? They end up finding the customer after driving the rock, because I guess SpongeBob only crashes boats but not a damn boulder. When they try to deliver it to the customer, he immediately yells at them for forgetting his drink in classic fast food customer fashion.
My drink? My Diet Dr. Kelp? Don't tell me you forgot my drink!
But you didn't order any.
How am I supposed to eat this pizza without my drink?
They apparently forgot since Mr. Greedy Krabs hung up before he said he wanted a drink, so really they didn't know. He refuses to even take the pizza and calls SpongeBob selfish for not thinking of the customer. What an asshole, but it's okay. He gets his as Squidward attacks him with the pizza for making him cry, bringing a satisfying end to this episode.
Next up, I want to talk about a super memorable and super funny episode from Season 2. It's Survival of the Idiots.
We start off with SpongeBob and Patrick entering with wild excitement as they are on their way to visit Sandy at her house. When they arrive at Sandy's tree dome, they find that it has been blocked off for some eerie reason. Sandy is apparently hibernating for the winter, so she won't have time to hang out with the boys because she'll be too busy sleeping. She also requests that they don't disturb her while she's sleeping.
That means you, SpongeBob.
Since these guys aren't the smartest, they enter anyway, thinking it's reverse psychology or something. They both take their helmets off due to the snow's moisture and head upstairs to see her. The idiots enter Sandy's room and discover that she's practically looking like a damn bear due to her pre-hibernation eating habits. Also, she seems to be dreaming about apprehending Pinhead Larry and Dirty Dan. They try to warp her dreams by acting like Pinhead Larry and Dirty Dan, but Patrick, in his classic idiot fashion, accidentally wakes her up. Hibernation Sandy acts like your friend who doesn't know who you are or what's happening when they're tripping on shrooms, so she really thinks that it's Pinhead Larry and Dipshit Dan. They go on to make makeshift earmuffs to keep Sandy asleep with belly button lint, which is just fucking gross, and they start yelling at Sandy assuming she can't hear them anymore.
All right, Pinhead, your time is up.
Who you calling Pinhead?
But all the commotion later on causes Sandy's earmuffs to fall off, so Sandy wakes up as a result of this. She ends up going absolutely AWOL on them, and mischief and chaos ensue.
This is a pretty entertaining episode that still gets a few laughs out of me to this day. That is up until this horrifying sight.
Alright, I got a good one to look at now. From Season 3, Midlife Crustacean.
Oh god, I'll never forget this one because my mom absolutely hated it and would make us either change the channel or skip it on the DVD, and you'll see why.
Basically, Mr. Krabs is having a midlife crisis and decides to get out and live a little. So the boys take Krabs out on a night on the town, which ends up being extremely lame, cause, well, it's them.
You feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Shh! It's not exactly what the crab had in mind, until...
I guess you're gonna miss the panty raid.
Wait, the fuck? You see what I mean now about this episode? Anyway, so this happens and... oh Jesus, it only gets worse and worse from there.
Well, why didn't you tell me this was my mother's house?
Why didn't you ask?
Yeah, kind of funny, but oh my god, I can't believe they got away with this back then.
It's funny though, because I just found out that apparently the episode has basically been removed from everything. It's no longer airing on TV, it's not on Paramount Plus, it's not on Amazon Prime Video, so I guess due to its kind of offensive, weird nature, it's just gone, but at least we have the DVD.
The last episode I want to discuss before moving on is also from Season 3. It's a classic, it's the camping episode. The episode opens with Squidward's joy as he finds out that SpongeBob and Patrick are out camping and could possibly die, which means he'll finally get a good night's sleep for the first time in years. Yeah, Squidward has become insane and honestly a bit evil at this point. However, it turns out that SpongeBob and Patrick are camping in SpongeBob's front yard since it's still technically outdoors. Squidward ends up deciding to camp out with them to disprove their accusation that he's an introvert, which didn't actually happen, but he just assumes they're talking shit about him because the squid is literally unable to live his life without going nuts. We all know this is probably going to end quite well, but Squidward's bad luck shows up here as his remote-controlled tent won't assemble, so he decides to sleep outside, claiming he prefers sleeping under the stars anyway, which is just bullshit. Squidward quickly becomes hungry and decides to eat a can of Swedish barnacle balls, but because it would be against camping ethics for him to return home to obtain a can opener, he settles on eating marshmallows with SpongeBob and Patrick instead.
Which just sounds way, way better anyway. Not bad.
It was just filled with many songs from what I remember.
U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime at all. Down here in the deep blue sea.
Anyway, eventually the sea bear shows up to wreck Squidward's shit, and that's what matters most here. Even though we can probably all agree that we all relate to Squidward more than anyone else as an adult, it's still funny to see the man get ruined.
And that brings a close to this nostalgic episode, as well as all the episodes that I have the most nostalgia and memories over. Something else that was super nostalgic to me about this show back in the day was the line of Spongebob Squarepants Lego sets that were released. And I am gonna build a few of them. See you guys in like an hour.
2,000 years later.
I owned Adventures in Bikini Bottom. Oh yeah, and this set was awesome because you got SpongeBob's Pineapple and SpongeBob and Gary, and I guess a carton full of jellyfish that they've captured, and it's a little inhumane. But then we can let him free with boom, boom, boom. Even better though, just put Gary in there and then give it a little tap tap. Oh, and he's dead. Now, of course, if we turn this thing around, we got SpongeBob's bed disappearing. I always thought this layout was funny. Like, you just got a basketball hoop, which I apparently lost the basketballs, but you got a hoop and then just a bed in there. That's not how I remember SpongeBob's house. Where's the TV and what the hell is that thing back there? Oh yeah, I think that was actually what held the basketballs. I love how that was the focal point of this set. And of course, you got Squidward's creepy looking house. And Patrick's rock, and Patrick, oh yeah, I'm Patrick, I'm a doofy idiot. Yeah, let's just run you. Let's just run you right into there. And inside Patrick's house, we've got a little setup. See, now this is a little more accurate to Patrick's house. We got the TV, we got the couch, we got the mug. That's all the man needs. I always love it. This is supposed to be a rock when it's looking a little jagged to be a rock. And then what's this? Oh, another jellyfish slinger. Okay, next, the Krusty Krab. One of my favorite things right off the bat, I thought the label's like literally just gone. Yeah, I think Dog chewed that shit up or something. Of course, on the other side of the Krusty Krab, you got crabs and plankton, and I love how plankton is just this little frickin' bottle piece. And SpongeBob, of course, you can't forget the most hardworking employee of the whole place, sitting next to a barrel of Krabby Patties. That's sanitary. Yeah, might as well just throw that shit in the dumpster out back. Which, does this thing open? I forget. Does it open? Oh, it opens. It opens, alright. Boom, boom, boom. Trash can of lettuce waste. Always fun, always fun. Anyway, let's flip this bitch around. And then you find, oh, there's Squidward working the register, kind of. Looks a little passed out there. You got Crab's office right in the corner, which inside has, dun-dun, the Krabby Patty formula. And coins, it looks like. Oh, the formula came loose. There you go, buddy. Enjoy. Have fun with that one. But yeah, I always thought it was funny how, look, you got the condiments over there, you got one table, and then Crab's office, just all right in the dining area. That's totally how it was in the show. But yeah, this was always a fun one. I remember I always loved this one. I just thought it looked so cool, so fresh, even though it's literally crusty, because it's the Krusty Krab. Oh, and look what I just found. I kind of found the paddy wagon. What the hell is this, though? It's like extreme paddy wagon sports. Like, we taking this to the exports or what? But also, what the fuck? That's pretty barbaric. What the hell happened to the rest of this SpongeBob's body? Moving on to the next one. The Bikini Bottom Express. Now, this is a fun one. Ow. But this is actually incomplete because if you notice, the top is missing a lot. And it just looks a little bit like a stubby Bikini Bottom Express. And I have no idea where the figures are. There's no driver. This thing, yeah, I don't even know why I built this one. It's a piece of shit. And Glove World. I always feel like they could have done a lot more with this set. I mean, it was pretty small. I mean, sure, you got the cool little minifigures here. The special ice cream minifigures, if you want to call them that. But yeah, otherwise, you just have like this Ferris wheel, which, yeah, we fun, and SpongeBob is falling out. SpongeBob just fucking died. Sandy probably should be dead because, what the hell is this? I don't even know where her helmet is. She's literally not going to be able to breathe without that thing. But otherwise, there wasn't really too much going on with this one except for yeah. This is like the little entrance gate thing, like the turnstile. Yeah, I think it takes some imagination to picture it like that. The original minifigure for Squidward was pretty funny. Yeah, you good, Squidward? You want to talk? Yeah, you're looking a little bit checked out there. Some of the other awesome but bigger sets included the Chum Bucket, Rocket Ride, the Emergency Room, and Mrs. Puff's Boating School. I always wanted these, but only the rich kids growing up were lucky enough for this. Of course, aside from the show and the Legos, there was also the Spongebob Squarepants movie, which released in 2004.
And as I stated before, my dad and I saw the first SpongeBob SquarePants movie in theaters, which is a huge memory for me. Let's talk about it.
To start off, I still love this movie. I don't know if it's the kind of adult-themed story, the classic quotes that I still find myself repeating today, or the characters themselves which shine even brighter here than in the original show, but it's a great animated film. It even featured new characters voiced by well-known actors including Jeffrey Tambor, Scarlett Johansson, and Alec Baldwin. Anyway, the story involves King Neptune's crown being stolen, which leaves SpongeBob SquarePants leaving the town of Bikini Bottom in order to track down the stolen crown, which is all the way in Shell City. Now, SpongeBob isn't a typical hero, and Patrick isn't a typical best friend, which kind of adds some of the charm to the story. I still find myself laughing at this movie simply because of the messages it taught, as well as how I can relate to the trauma that SpongeBob experiences, stuck in his fast food job for years, as I've worked plenty of jobs like that in the past. The quick shift from I'm ready promotion to I'm ready depression is still a quote that makes me laugh, because it relates more especially when you grow up. This is also a movie where you would mainly expect children's humor, but the humor is truly universal and can apply to adults too. I mean, this scene practically showing a fucked up, drunk SpongeBob that is simply just high on sugar is hysterical when rewatching as an adult.
Why do I always get the nuts?
Alright, folks, this one goes out to my two bestest friends in the whole world, Patrick and his big peanut guy.
This movie really does have a strong appeal even today, as it can bring out the goofy goober in adults and children alike, which made it so fun and fresh, especially on release in 2004. Also, the comedic timing is perfect.
Well. Which one of you babies was it?
It was him! He did it! I've never even eaten it! Goofy goober, yeah!
And the music resonates perfectly with the story and tone of the film, even when it gets unexpectedly dramatic.
Goofy!
Take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand.
Overall, I still love this movie and might even like it more upon rewatching today. There are too many movies that take themselves too seriously or have too much going on, but the simplicity and charm of this story and the characters in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie finds a perfect balance while incorporating the fun of the series.
One of the best elements of this film is that at the end of the day, SpongeBob is truly the hero, which is really the least expected out of all of Bikini Bottom, so it's really just a good underdog story. And who doesn't love a good underdog story?
From the opening Pirates credit scene to the final jump in the air at the end of the film, the whole thing is one entertaining journey for its audience. This is an animated movie that still holds up today, especially for SpongeBob fans.
Come on, Phil, stay with me. Let's hear about that family.
I got a wife and 2 beautiful children.
That's what it's all about.
Now, of course, there was also the video game based off the movie, which I happen to own on the GameCube. Let's check it out. I used to play the hell out of this game when I was a kid, and I loved it. I got the game when my dad bought it for me at Best Buy right after we saw the movie in theaters. This game was actually hard as shit, especially for a kid's game, compared to the other SpongeBob games in the 2000s, which were honestly a lot easier. Starting the game, we follow the same plot as the movie, except rather than get cutscenes, we get still images with audio playing over them.
You got a name? Phil? Come on, Phil, stay with me. I've only got one shot at this.
For 2004, it seems like this game could have had video cutscenes kind of like The Incredibles, which was released the same year by the same developer? Weird. Anyway, moving on.
You start the game in the middle of one of SpongeBob's dreams where he's been summoned to resolve a dire situation at the Krusty Krab as a slice of cheese is missing from the fish's order. Even playing today, this game is quite a good one and an effective platformer that follows the style and tone of the movie quite well. Once you're off and running, you'll notice that, as is typical of platform games, you gather items and jump over spikes and lava, but there's so much more to the game as well. Heavy Iron created a fun dive into the ocean depths by adding details from the show and movie and fusing it with strong action and humor as well. You play as SpongeBob and Patrick throughout the whole game, and they learn many attacks and abilities later on, such as the karate spin, the bounce, the cartwheel, sonic wave guitar, and more. You will also be able to upgrade these abilities as well as your health pretty frequently throughout the game. In order to progress through the game, you must collect a certain amount of Goofy Goober tokens in order to learn new abilities that progress you through each area. While talking about the new abilities in the game, I should say, the controls for this game are actually pretty good, especially for a platformer that is movie-based at that, and it helps the use of the abilities drastically. I can't complain at all on the controls since they make the game more playable, even in the most difficult and shitty situations like this one. The gameplay is extremely fun and constantly changing to keep the game interesting, but one thing that I did notice is that sometimes when attacking enemies, even though you're standing right next to one, the moves don't want to register a hit on the enemy. Though this doesn't happen often, it did occasionally. In addition, sometimes these damn fools will lose their grip on a ledge during jumping sequences and they'll plummet straight to the abyss. Like, shit. Driving and sliding is one of the biggest parts of the gameplay in this game. It happens to also be one of the best parts of the entire game as well. Compared to some of the platform stages, some of the most thrilling and exciting moments of this game involve these levels as you drive and slide in a huge hamburger as well as an old bathtub. One of these levels is a fucking Goofy Goober Kingdom fever dream though. Like, man, what kind of drugs are these two on? Because this seems like more than just a dream. It's an acid trip. I'm talking about an acid trip. This level right here was memorable and one of my favorites just because the boss is so weird and creepy. She's super fun to fight though. But not as fun as the final battle with Dennis on the back of David Hasselhoff. I mean, some random dude, because like likeness rights and stuff. But yeah, you fight in the back of his hairy ass body, which is cool, I guess. Anyway, another fun level is the Goofy Goober restaurant level because, like, what the hell is even happening? You basically play as the two boys, drunk off sugar, running away from Goofy Goober employees that want you fucking dead, while listening to this song. Which is honestly kind of fire, although I feel like it might just drive others to insanity. Some of the later levels are extremely challenging, like the ones where you return to Bikini Bottom to find it's a creepy plankton worshipping dystopia. The color tones say it all, a dark time for the fish of this town, the Great Bikini Depression. Speaking of the difficulty, the minigames busted my ass more than anything else, especially when replaying this.
I gotta wrap this review up after that bullshit.
This game offers an entertaining blend of platform and driving levels as opposed to opting for boring gameplay, which I'm glad Heavy Iron didn't do. It's an awesome game with voice acting, graphics, and music that make you feel like you're in the aesthetic of the SpongeBob universe.
aside from the show, the movie, and building some of the Lego sets when I was in elementary school.
Yeah, that guy. I did also spend a lot of time playing SpongeBob-themed video games, which is another memory that brings me a lot of nostalgia when talking about the franchise. There were all kinds of games themed around the series, including this one on PC, Employee of the Month, which I did own, as well as The Revenge of the Flying Dutchman on the PS2. But there's only one other game I want to talk about in this video, the game that I played more than any other, Spongebob Squarepants Battle for Bikini Bottom.
I owned this game on the GameCube when I was a kid, and I played through it so many times and loved it to death. So I was pretty excited a couple years ago when I found out that a new remastered version was coming out called Spongebob Squarepants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which I bought on the Nintendo Switch.
Battle for Bikini Bottom plays very similarly to the movie game as it should, since both games use the same engine. In the game you play SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy as you go on an adventure to collect golden spatulas throughout the entire town of Bikini Bottom, and you really get to see a lot of different areas that were featured in the show, which I thought was awesome when I was a kid. I still do as well, since it offers a visual variety with difficulty that increases as the game goes by as well. Playing as all three of the heroes was, and still is, a great part of this game, as you can change between these characters at bus stops in each level, which will apparently even pick you up in the middle of nowhere. Some characters have different skills than others, so this is really a necessity. All of them, however, can slide down mountains. Sandy uses a board, Patrick uses his body, while SpongeBob does this. Whatever this is. Oh shit! Boom! Anyway, SpongeBob, Sandy, and Patrick must collect golden spatulas in the world to defend Bikini Bottom from evil robots sent by the criminal mastermind Plankton in his weak attempt to wreak havoc onto the town. And the robots are really out for blood as they literally want to murder you. Some of them even hit you with a literal block of ham. Now, one thing I will say off the bat that I love about this game is the graphics. They really set the tone for the environment as they feel straight out of the look and feel of the show itself. The music is also great as every level and area include catchy, fun tunes that just make you smile and feel like you're in Bikini Bottom. Another element from the show that is also well represented if you're a SpongeBob fan is the amount of recognizable characters from the show that are included in the game, including Miss Puff, Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy, Gary, Larry, and more. It really feels like the show when you're playing this game, which is so important as it hits the sweet spot of absurd mayhem that SpongeBob episodes often portrayed, while throwing some fun, action-packed gameplay into the mix. Of course, if the regular gameplay isn't fun enough for you, you could always just beat the hell out of the innocent fish bystanders. Also, look at this right here. He's eating the... Wait, what the fuck?
Before I end off this review, let's quickly talk about the bosses. There's 3 total.
They're all robots that resemble the 3 main heroes, Sandy, Patrick, and the final boss, SpongeBob. For a final boss, this one is pretty easy honestly. Just make sure to have your timing right or else you'll get your shit rocked with this karate bullshit flying at you. That's all I really have to say about this game. Battle for Bikini Bottom gives you a fun, although easy to beat adventure that takes you through some of the most beloved locations from the show while providing action-packed gameplay, puzzles, battles, and more. The game still gives me major nostalgia while continuing to hold up as a fantastic platformer with a funny story too, taking you through your very own SpongeBob episode. The remastered version, Rehydrated, is definitely worth it to pick up and play today, especially if you loved the show like I did.
Now, that's really it as far as the SpongeBob that I grew up with and remember. I discussed some of my favorite episodes, I discussed some toys that remind me of SpongeBob, some games, and some movies that I experienced. But I decided not to end it there. I'm going to give the second movie a chance as I've never really seen it or experienced it, and I'm kind of curious about it, so let's check it out.
SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water released in theaters in 2015 and follows a plot where a diabolical pirate above the sea steals the secret formula for the Krabby Patty, so SpongeBob and his longtime nemesis Plankton team up in order to get it back. Although the story is slightly borrowed from an episode of the show, it is still quite well thought out. It's an adventure movie, a time travel movie, an action movie, and a damn comic book film all thrown into one, and I'm surprised to say this, but this movie is good, and the film pulls off the idea quite well. I actually found myself laughing at many of the jokes. Given that the show has really gone downhill since about 2009, I was not expecting this movie to be funny or even good for that matter. But the jokes are impressive and work effectively between the characters. Something I noticed really fast that I wasn't expecting either was the great animation quality of this movie. It looks vivid, fun, and colorful as it uses a blend of different animation styles to achieve a great result. The movie also has a catchy soundtrack, including songs sung by various characters. Speaking of characters, the pirate character is pretty entertaining and he's voiced by Antonio Banderas, who refreshingly did a pretty great job with the role. Anyway, this movie is downright full of fun and I found myself enjoying it from start to finish, just like the first one. The only issue I did find, if we're really looking for one, is that the plot does drag a bit in the final act. But enough of my nitpicky bullshit. Overall, I really enjoyed Sponge Out of Water, and I found it to be a great entry to the franchise. Now, while we're at it, let's check out the third.
2 hours later.
Well, that fucking sucked. Yeah, it's not even worth it for me to talk about that horrendous piece of shit that I just watched. Extremely disappointing compared to the other two. I honestly should have just stopped while I was ahead. But since we didn't stop, we were still ahead, I'm gonna watch the show now. You know, like the more recent episodes of the show. They can't be nearly as bad as everyone says, or even as bad as the shit movie that I just watched, so I'm gonna give them a chance. I'm gonna watch some modern SpongeBob.
Was that his car?
No.
Are you constipated?
Please, hurry.
Lovely day for a boat wash.
Hey guys, I finished that.
Things are gonna get crazy.
Nope. Oh boy.
That'll be 10 cents entrance fee.
Marriage license. Spread 'em. We sit on babies.
Have a question, comment, or concern? Or maybe you just want to know more about upcoming videos? Check me out and follow me on Twitter for exclusive updates and more.